Dear students, good evening. Welcome to Law Excellence IAS. Let us start the discussion on today's newspaper, that is 22nd October 2020. The first article for discussion is Potholes in the Digital Payment Superhighway. Here the Digital Payment Superhighway refers to the National Payment Corporation of India. It was envisioned based on a model in Switzerland. This is owned by 10 public sector banks. Added to that, the payments which are being made in the banking sector are considered as public good. On that premise, NPCIL is launched. In this context, making this NPCIL as for-profit company is going to defeat the very purpose it is created. And second thing, we need to create a level playing field across various modes of digital payment. You have card-based payments, UPI-based payments. So these UPI-based payments are handled by NPCIL. So having a level playing field and competition will evolve these digital payments further in India. This is what we can put it as. Today, world is looking at India with regard to fintech companies or financial transaction methodologies. Today RTGS is also available 24/7. NEFT is available. Actually RTGS has come for gross settlements in capital market. Today it has been made possible to reach to common man. All these innovations have happened due to a open mindset of RBI, Reserve Bank of India. That is it. The next article, in West Asia, it's a bleak future amid America fading. You know, Abraham Accords are very much in the news. What these accords are? UAE has normalized the relations with Israel. After that, Bahrain followed the suit. Indirectly, Saudi is also supporting this normalization of relationships. Their major concern is Iran. If you observe the United States of America during Trump era, it threw all its weight behind Israel, either considering Jerusalem as its capital or supporting its encroachments or expansion in West Bank, anything, even with regard to Golan Heights, it has supported the Israel stand. In this context, what can be the consequences of this? The first is the Mr. Trump's open embrace of Israel is developing new political dynamics over there. The Palestinian cause is expected to be taken forward by non-Arab Islamic countries like Iran and Turkey. So a new axis is developing with Iran and Turkey, Lebanon on one side. On the other side, Arab nations aligned with Israel. And second thing, Obama has observed the fading of America in West Asia, and he has started something called Cold Peace Initiative. It means America do not want to get actively involved with their problems. Second thing, he has moved a safe distance from its world allies in the region. Who are the world allies? Saudi Arabia, Israel. The outcome of this is Iran nuclear deal. Mr. Trump wants to reverse the legacy of Mr. Obama, and he has supported the Israel and Saudi Arabia and brought them together. He wants to claim that as a diplomatic victory. It needs to be understood that America's influence, geopolitical influence, is slowly waning now, and we need to accept this new normal in the global affairs. Next is a crucial season. Festival season of Navaratri and Deepavali is coming up. Obviously, mass gatherings are expected to happen due to festival celebrations. It is a good opportunity for the spread of COVID-19. We have seen this in Kerala. Because of Onam festival celebrations and the second wave of infections have come over there. So we need to avoid this. Second thing, government shall not allow the people to down their guard. How it can do that? It shall not lighten up the COVID-19. Prime Minister Modi's speech in this context, we have to welcome that. And most important thing is, the COVID-19 is a double whammy. How it is a double whammy? On one side, there is loss of job, that is financial resources. On the other side, there is loss of health. In this context, the best prevention for COVID-19 is not getting exposed. So that's why Though unlock is announced or lockdown is gone, COVID-19 did not go away. We need to remember that fact in mind. The next article is manacles of caste in sanitation work. If you see, certain demeaning jobs are intricately connected with caste. So, labor and caste have to be separated in India, and occupational mobility is important. Lack of opportunities, education, etc. is the major reason for various communities to continue into these menial jobs. If you observe, manual scavenging is a scourge on human dignity. And government has made certain laws with civil society action to prohibit manual scavenging and to rehabilitate these people. In this case, construction of dry latrines is also declared as illegal. So the definition of dry latrine is given in this particular law. Other than these manual scavengers, we have sanitation workers in every municipality in India. These sanitation workers are meagerly paid. They do not have rights of other workers. They don't have proper timings, and they are considered as emergency workers to be available round the clock. And no labor unions exist for them. They do not have equal rights like any other person. So they are defined. They are not covered under Manual Scavengers Prohibition Act. They do not have even the basic gear to get into these sewers. In this context, it is the time we care about our people who are providing us with essential services like this. If you have watched this movie Article 15, you will understand how caste is there in every mind of Indian. So separation of work and caste is essential for equality of opportunity in this particular country. The next is back to basics in algorithms. The NEP National Education Policy 2020 emphasizes on computational skills to children. Here computational skills mean AI, machine learning, etc. are developing a kind of thinking which we call it as algorithmical thinking. If we can develop algorithmical thinking, a child can have great computational skills. He can see the patterns from the data and can enable that through a proper coding. Coding is just a skill, but developing a kind of a thinking, that is what is essential to build a strong generation of computational skills in India. That is what author tries to say here. ICMR not for low cost COVID-19 testing device. You need to remember one thing. The educational institutions has to make themselves relevant and has to provide for the needs of the society. In this case, IIT Kharagpur, it has developed CoviRap, a diagnostic tool for COVID-19. It is cheap and also it is effective. It means the institution has responded to the need of the day. It has equivalent or close to similar specificity and sensitivity like RT-PCR. In this context, ICMR has approved to apply this for day-to-day use. That's why it is in the news. Next, Rajasthan to oppose new farm laws. You know, 3 farm laws which are passed by the parliament aims to create an open market for the sale of agricultural products. Obviously, farmers feared the MSP and assured price protection given to them. In this context, Punjab is the first state which has opposed these farm laws and passed state laws for it. Similarly, Rajasthan also want to oppose this and pass these state laws. What they are doing, they want to give assured MSP. If any trader is trying to buy below the MSP, there will be imprisonment and penalty. That is what Rajasthan is also expected to do now. Next article is economy almost at a doorstep of revival. Thus, here counter-cyclical measures were effectively brought in by both monetary and fiscal policy. In this context, RBI governor says, fiscal policy and monetary policy are working in symmetry with each other to ensure economic revival. So the green shoots are visible with increase in GST collections, increase in productions of cement and steel. This clearly shows that economy is coming back. In this context, he advises the banking sector and non-banking finance companies to get their capital ready to provide as necessary support to these industries. Government to widen manufacturing PLI plan. Government wants to establish manufacturing sector strongly in India. In this context, it has brought in a new approach through this PLI plan. Previously, government was giving input subsidies. Government wants to move towards output subsidy. It means the benefits will be offered to you based on your size of production. So, production linked incentives are being offered. Now, these PLIs initially are offered for 5 sectors. They are expected to be increased to another 8 sectors. We need to remember this point for the reason that the subsidy model to the manufacturing sector is fundamentally changing. No more it is input based. Today it is output based in PLI linked manufacturing incentives. Next article is integrated commands, next steps in reforms. You know, certain reforms are undertaken in defense. One is appointment of chief of staff, and the second is creation of Department of Military Affairs, and third is creation of theatre commands. When chief of staff was appointed, the primary motive or primary responsibility given to him is to reorganize the armed forces. This reorganization of armed forces means to create theatre commands, which Mr. General, Army Chief General Naravane has clearly accepted. Infodemic management, a serious challenge. Ms. Soumya Swaminathan has given this word infodemic. It means information pandemic. So social media has brought in a lot of misinformation on COVID-19. It has become a great challenge for the public health systems and governments to handle. This infodemic also has brought in mistrust against public health systems and the government in the world. In this context, what she says is building the trust with the people and acting on misinformation is essential part of fighting pandemic. The next point she talks about is shared appointments initiative. It means people suffering from common symptoms and diseases, they are being brought together for diagnosis and treatment. It develops some peer relationship and pressure. This is essential for increased follow-up, better adherence to treatment and outcomes. So this has been tried now in Aravind Eye Hospital. What is this? Shared Appointments Initiative. Next is Maharashtra withdraws consent to CBI. CBI is seen as the parrot of the central government. It is acting at the behest of the masters in the union government. In that case, you know public order is a subject in the state list. So CBI has no original authority or scope to act and investigate the crimes happening in the jurisdiction of the states. But how was it made possible with a general consent given by the states? So Maharashtra wants to withdraw this general consent given to CBI. It means CBI has to take permission on case basis to investigate any matter within the state of Maharashtra now. Previously, if you recollect, West Bengal did the same, Andhra Pradesh during Chandrababu Naidu time did the same. It means these states see center's hegemony getting implemented through CBI. Final article for today is when politics is an end in itself. What is politics? Politics is a game of power where this power is an instrument to achieve something called public good. But today in Bihar elections, if you see, politics and who is going to hold the power is the point of discussion rather than why they are holding the power, what they have to do for us with that power. There is a general pessimism on change in the society or solving the public issues. And personalities are becoming more important than issues like unemployment. So in India, politics is becoming an end in itself, especially politically active societies like Bihar. That is the point over here. So this is Dr. Rambabu signing off for Law Excellence IAS.